Hey, so earlier this week, PlayStation did a little showcase where they revealed something big. You can already see it down here. That this is of what this is. So they did a little showcase. And I just wanted to watch it. I just wanted to watch it. I just wanted to see what it was. I just wanted to watch it. I think this is the right thing. Boop. Oh, well, that's a problem, huh? That's a problem, huh? Take two.
Hi, I'm Mark Cerny. I'm excited to
Hi,
be
Mark
here to
Cerny.
talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology. But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience. When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought
4 years ago, almost 5.
Table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second. PS5 has a powerful
RDNA game
GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds and data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
You okay? I'm working on it!
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such variety.
Crazy how many of those games are PS4 games.
Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers
think we want that.
can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an
we
aspect
do want
of
that.
modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players.
I mean, nah, it's not really that difficult a choice. It's always performance.
Resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second, mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster.
Okay.
Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5.
Okay.
And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short.
Pisser.
PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of
That's
the games.
crazy.
Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of
Like a
detail and
5-year-old
targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier.
Definitely looks better on the right.
This goal of delivering almost fidelity-like graphics at performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5.
Our Cerny's been around forever.
Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5. For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars. So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden
We've used that
West.
same animation 3
Apart
times
from the
now.
detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jor's orders.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay,
Excuse me for
while
such
continuing to support their
whimsical
targeted 60
utterances.
frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also
Whimsy,
delivering
how are you?
big wins for
Pyro
Hogwarts,
5.
allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5
I don't think-
Pro. Simply put, it's the most powerful console
worth
we've
the
ever
upgrade.
built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
You'll never.
Don't let me hang.
Close your eyes. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
Did I do it? Oh, what is this? What's with all the neon?
I think many people would disagree with you on that, Ace. We'll see. That's crazy. Look at how much better the console looks. Speaking as a person that doesn't have a PS5 currently, right? I haven't bought a PS5 for the how much is a PS5? Is it 500 or 600? How much is a PS5 right now? Yeah, we'll go up here. Oops, wrong button. 5? A PS5 is 500? This is, yeah, it's 500. It's 450 for the digital. Yeah. So this is a, so this is the PS5 for 450 right here. Right? And then the physical edition has the 500. This is a $200 up cost for, let me be clear, less depth of field. That's all it is. Like, the extra reflections from the ray tracing, you're not gonna notice that, right? The fact that they're there at all, you're gonna notice that. Whether or not they're present, you're gonna notice that. But those being like a little higher resolution, or them being even more present, you're not gonna notice that, right? So literally all you're paying for here with $200 extra is extra depth of field. You're literally just paying for your main character to put on their glasses. That's it. Because all of these games have like the performance fidelity mode, and 9 times out of 10, people choose performance, and I would as well. I did for the entirety of the PS4 era. I chose performance mode for the 60 FPS. And on top of that, Robo just pointed out, this is even no disc drive. This is $700 with no disc drive. This right here is not a $200 upcharge. This is $250 because the digital-only console is $550. So that doesn't have the disc drive. So this isn't $200. This is $250 extra for less depth of field. Yeah, and then if you want to buy the disc drive, it's an extra $30. It's like, that's not worth it at all. Vertical stands sold separately as well. That's insane. Sony, that's ridiculous. Because, like, let's be clear, right? Back during the PS4 era, right? They sold the PS4 Pro, right? That's the one that I have. It's actually right there, right? Back during the PS4 era, they released the PS4 Pro. And the PS4 Pro, I believe, was $100 extra. I believe. And the PS4 Pro, the big thing that was like sold with the PS4 Pro is that it ran games faster. Not in the way of frame rate, even though that was the case, but in the way of loading screens. The PS4 Pro had insanely faster loading screens in comparison to the PS4. Like, I think on Bloodborne, it was like sometimes over a minute, 2 minutes of a loading screen, and then on the PS4 Pro, it was like 30 to 45 seconds max. So it's like, that was the big selling point there. But they can't do that for the PS5 Pro because the PS5 already doesn't have loading screens. Every single game loads like that. So, like, the PS5 can't have that be the selling point that they have less loading screens because the PS5 already doesn't have those. So what are you going to sell with the PS4? Backgrounds are less blurry. Who cares? Who cares? I don't care if I can see fucking person in crowd better. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Not for $200, for like 50 more bucks, sure. If this was like $550, sure. But for like $200 extra, $250 extra, that's insane. That's an insane price tag. I say once again, people shit on them all the time. And I get it. They literally just laid off more people earlier today. People shit on them all the time. I get it. Xbox is winning this generation by leagues with Game Pass. They just are. Because, like, the console their console, meh. Their exclusives, meh. At least they're not greedy pieces of shit like this. And they are still greedy pieces of shit. Not to this level, though. Because this is anti-consumer. Sony makes anti-consumer moves with their exclusives and the way they treat them. And with their price tags. Xbox, not so much. And that's just how it is. So yeah, it's that.